And finally, 65 years ago today, Matthew Abraham Groening is an American cartoonist, writer, producer, animator, and voice actor. He is the creator of the comic strip Life in Hell and the television series The Simpsons, Futurama, and The Disenchantment. The Simpsons is the longest running U.S. primetime television series in history and the longest running U.S. animated series and sitcom. Groening made his first professional cartoon sale of Life in Hell to Avant Garde Web magazine in 1978. At its peak, the cartoon was carried in 250 weekly newspapers. Life in Hell caught the attention of James L. Brooks in 1985. Brooks contacted Groening with the proposition of working in animation for the Fox variety show, The Tracy Ullman Show. Originally, Brooks wanted Groening to adapt his Life in Hell characters for the show. Fearing the loss of ownership rights, Groening decided to create something new and came up with the cartoon family, the Simpson family, and named the members after his own parents and sisters. While Bart was an anagram of the word brat, the shorts would be spun off into their own series, The Simpsons, which had aired 652 episodes in 1997. Groening, the former Simpson writer, David X. Cohen, developed Futurama and animated the series about life in year 3000, which premiered in 1999, running for 4 years on Fox, then picked up by Comedy Central for additional seasons. Groening developed a new series for Netflix titled Disenchantment, which premiered in August 2018. Groening has won 12 Premier Emmy Awards, 10 for The Simpsons and 2 for Futurama, as well as a British Comedy Award for Outstanding Contribution to Comedy. In 2004 and 2002, he won the National Cartoon Society Reuben Award for his work on Life in Hell. He received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on February 14th, 2012.
Awesome, man. Matt Groening was the man, and let me just say this right quick: how this guy was the pinnacle of animation, taking it to the next level in a certain generation. Because obviously, like I said, we touched up on the Looney Tunes in the past, how they took animation to a level where it wasn't for kids necessarily, but it wasn't not for kids. It wasn't like, oh, this is not for kids. It was like, hey, listen, man, this is suggested to be for adults, but this is for everyone. Same thing with the Flintstones. Like, you kind of, when you kind of grew up on this, like, okay, this was like suggested to be for adults, but it was for kids. The Simpsons, when they came out, it was suggested to be for adults as well. Like, this is adult humor, and it was Fox at the time, a new station. And it was like, we kind of want to push the envelope here. We kind of want to have an animation who was actually like pushing the card, and that was The Simpsons. And how The Simpsons it's 100% a pinnacle of funny in this day and age, a pinnacle of evolution, of comedy and of animation, and of the times. And when I say of the times, man, they've been doing it for such a long time, and they touched on so many subjects to a point people may not love The Simpsons as they did in the early times. As you alluded to earlier, the Tracy Ullman Show, who some of the cast of The Simpsons, I believe, Homer, the guy who played Homer. The Simpsons has been a long-running show, one of the longest, and it's for a reason. They literally were the first ones to kind of be politically incorrect during the time that it wasn't. Now, you can watch a lot of the Simpsons episodes in the past, and I can assure you, it's probably one of the funniest things you'll ever see. But you may also see a lot of episodes that don't hold up because of the times, because times has changed. But the Simpsons has changed as well, though. They always moved along with the time. This is why it's been going on for a long time. Politicians, presidents, athletes, movie stars, everybody that you can think of. And it was funny about The Simpsons that everybody that came on were essentially making fun of themselves. Like everybody, even if it was like a president, nobody really took themselves too serious. Or like Michael Jackson infamously did an episode under a different name. There was a lot of big things like the Who Shot Mr. Burns, and you got to mind you, there were a time when The Simpsons was around. That was before the internet was even around. For like people tuned in and watched. So when all the ratings that they got, when they had millions and millions of people, they loved it. Simpsons, it was fucking. I mean, if you don't think it was fucking funny, you don't have a fucking funny bone in your body. But we're living in this day and age where a lot of people don't think it's funny. In fact, there are people who think The Simpsons is very racist in this day and age. And I know, I say, people who are 25 and older, I know that people go, "Oh, fuck that." What they do, I know a lot of you guys don't know, but it's true because you guys are doing cool shit. But the young people go, they think everything is racist, and including The Simpsons. And now to a point, there's like Apu, the character, is no longer in The Simpsons anymore. Like I think they wrote them off for the time being. You know what I mean? Because they find that, and they find the Simpsons, a lot of their characters very offensive and very stereotyped. They have guys like Groundskeeper Willie, who's probably like who's an exaggerated type of Scottish person. They have like Fat Tony, who's like a mafia, Italian American. They have like guys like Waylon Smithers, who's obviously a homosexual, Barney Gumble, who's a drunk, Krusty the Clown, who's Jewish, but he plays a clown on television. You have Ned Flanders, the over obsessively Christian, Mo Sislak, a bartender who just works at a bar, who literally has no love for anybody. You have a character like Mr. Burns, who's like, he's the Donald Trump, if you will, how people would classify them as the angry billionaire. But obviously, you had the family too. You had Homer Simpson, the patriarch, Marge Simpson, the wife, the loving wife, and Bart, obviously the mischievous kid, and Lisa, the very smart and the sweetest one out of the whole family, if you will. And that whole combination was great. And it was great because it's just like the character, like I think that was really the first time where it was like this expanded. I'm not talking about it's like expanded universe. Not people going Marvel universe. Take it easy. We're talking about on television. And it was like, wow, there was like so many characters. Like everybody had like their own background, their own backstory, and they had their own backstories. Like for example, like Bart had classmates like Nelson and and these other guys, and like Ralph was like in Lisa's class, Ralph Wiggum, which was hilarious, and they had their principal, but they also had like the other guys like Grandpa and shit. Like the Grandpa was in there, and he had his like his guys, and like the universe was so expanded. It was so good. It was I dare you to tell me that The Simpsons is not funny or humorous in any way. And it created so many memes, and it's one of those things where it's very popular to a certain crowd, and I just kind of don't believe a lot of the younger crowd will ever get it. And unfortunately, if they don't, too bad when it comes down to it, man. Like, dude, there's just so many fucking Troy McClure. Fucking Phil Hartman was fucking amazing, man. Like I said, a lot of voice actors and a lot of who's, if you will, when it comes down to the voices. I think like all the Beatles done it except for John Lennon, unfortunately. But I mean, like I said, the politicians, you name it, it was awesome. Futurama was awesome too. Futurama was great. I haven't checked out this new one they got on Netflix, but Futurama was well written. That's also won awards. There's one that I feel that was one of the best things I've ever seen in my life, dude. Was this episode of Futurama where like they had Bender, the character. He was this robot. Mind you, this show is based in like way in the future. But I guess he was lost in space. He was like, they were in outer space doing the job, and he got lost. So he just was flowing into the infancy that is known as space. And eventually, as he's flowing through space, he's getting a lot of bacteria in his. Mind you, he's made out of metal. He's a robot. And mind you, this is a cartoon. Let us be a little silly here. But he's getting all this bacteria, and he's building worlds, and eventually he creates life. He unknowingly kills life, and he eventually speaks to God, and he has this great conversation. And like I said, this thing is probably like 20 to 30 minutes long, and it's a cartoon. But like I said, well written, one of the most best things you ever seen. And I don't want to spoil it to anybody that's listening. But if anybody's seen it, I think you should watch that. And I think that he said it should enlighten you. It should enlighten you. If not, like I said, that's my fucking opinion. What are you gonna fucking do? Matt Groening is the man, and unfortunately, he's getting a lot of flack with this whole Apu thing. Chap, you're a younger guy. You ever watched? You ever watch a little bit The Simpsons?
No, I haven't, Lobo. I never seen The Simpsons, nor ever seen Futurama or Disenchantment.
Okay, terrific.
But I do know that the shows are highly regarded, and I just can't really comment.
Well, you're a younger guy, man. I don't know if you're into comedy, Chappie. I know you're kind of a serious guy, but you can't be serious to tell me. No, you're a younger guy. I can believe you haven't seen The Simpsons, but come on, Chap. You don't got a funny bone in your body.
I like South Park, but that's obviously not related or his work.
Well, that's true. South Park is pretty good, and South Park
Family
always
Guy.
had South Park always and Family Guys. Well, they had kind of like this little rivalry thing is going right. They had this South Park had this great episode. Obviously, as a South Park fan, you must know about the Cartoon Wars episode, which was good. What I did like about it too, that Simpsons is not even in that realm anymore, where people are talking about it. It's a show that's been around for a long time, and it's respected, is highly regarded, but it's not what it used to be. There's so many things that you can do when you're a show that's been running for 30 years and trying to push the envelope. And in this day and age, you got to be fucking very careful what you call pushing the envelope, because there are a lot of people jobs that are at risk. Like I said, when it comes down to animation and writers and fucking people who are doing voices, it's just bigger than that. It's something that gives people joy. So I don't see what the fucking big problem is. But unfortunately, Apu, man, I said, hold your head up, bro. Maybe they'll bring you back one time, and hopefully, let's move on, chap.